I'm Joyce Hornady. You might say accuracy is my business. I make bullets.
You are listening to the Hornady Podcast.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Hornady Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Swerzik, and today I have no marketeers on the podcast, but I have a wonderful guest for you. So please join me in welcoming a competitor and a true champion in every sense of the word, Jessie Harrison. Jessie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here in person this time.
Right. So for the listener, if they want the full Jessie picture, we did kind of a deep dive into your upbringing, what got you into shooting and some of the hunting you've done and obviously the competition stuff. And that was all the way back in episode 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
what are you on now?
130. At the time of this recording, 139
so
or 40.
I'm one of the archives. Wow.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. So for the listener, episode 15, there's a bunch of awesome stuff in there about you, your life as a competitor, and that's really cool. But you're here at Hornady in the studio, and since you were on episode 15, since probably episode 50 or 60, we have really tried to make a conscientious effort that our guests are in the studio.
I think it's so much better. The personal interaction, it just comes across so much better.
It does. Yeah. And we've lost podcasts trying to remote people in because you're at the mercy of somebody's internet connection.
Yep.
And that we've lost, I don't know, probably 6 hours of podcast total. And it's like, that's a waste of my time, their time, Judd and Preston's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're glad to have you at the studio. And
Thanks.
You were here for more than just a podcast. What are you doing here in the island of Grand? That's neither Grand nor an island.
In this grand island of Nebraska. Well, normally I'm out here once a year, at least, to come out and shoot the Hornady Area 3 USPSA match. And unfortunately, that was canceled this year for reasons unknown to me. So I reached out to Neil Davies and I said, look, I know I'm supposed to shoot this match for y'all every year, but it was canceled. And what if I just come out and we'll just spend a couple of days at the factory, hang out, see everyone, get some content. That way, I'm still putting in some FaceTime and I actually get to hang out with people now instead of just being here for a match and then I leave. So my husband and I, Casey, we flew in and we've been hanging out at the factory. I got to see the new West facility, which I haven't seen that yet. And then Saturday, I'll be doing a firearms course over at Heartland Public Shooting Park. Yeah.
That's really cool. And open, you had to register, but open to the public. So
it was open to the public. I think there's a couple of Hornady people that are going to be there, which is great. But yeah, it was open to the public. So we'll be doing that Saturday. So yeah, honestly, I think this works out better than just being here for a match because I just get to spend time with everyone and, be a part of the company.
Well, and see more behind the scenes. Like you talked about Hornady West. So for the listener that's not aware, Hornady started at the Hornady headquarters out of town in Grand Island, Nebraska. And Grand Island's grown up around our facility now, but we outgrew that facility. So we have that one. We have what we call Hornady West, which is a few miles away. And we have another facility south of here creating the trifecta of the triangle of manufacturing. Yeah. And this West facility is,
it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And y'all just expanded it from when it was only built 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's like
we doubled the size of it.
The Hornady train is not slowing down.
No, the product innovation, the volume, the scale of what we're able to produce now is really, that has helped launch us, into 2024 and beyond is, yes, we make awesome products, but the scale at which we can make them and the quality on the average of all of the products we make has gotten better. And our ability to ship that product around the world has also dramatically increased. So a lot of good things going on here, and we're happy to have you and your husband here on site. So you're here. We're going to do a podcast. Yeah. We solicited some questions from the masses, from the internet. And we had to screen them because there was a lot of typical internet questions that came through.
Well, I'm glad you screened them.
We pulled out a little over a dozen questions, and I know you had some come in to your personal accounts.
I had a few on my side too. So
I'm going to rapid fire these questions at you.
Ooh, okay.
And right before recording, you were under the impression you were getting a copy of this.
No, I'm going completely blind into this. Yeah. So I got sweaty palms all of a sudden.
No, these are good questions. They're going to be easy for you to answer.
Okay.
And can I get a copy of that? Nay.
Nope.
You're going to go in blind.
So we don't play fair here.
the first question, pretty easy one for you, I would think. And I'm guessing this question came in from a lady. Your favorite concealed carry gun for perhaps in a purse and then on your body and where? Ankle, torso, et cetera, et cetera. What do you like to carry and kind of how do you like to carry it?
So this is going to be a two-part answer simply because I have some news is that I just changed gun companies.
Okay.
So I had been at Taurus for 13 years, and it was an amazing opportunity. I was very thankful for everything that they provided me. But Staccato offered my husband and I an opportunity that we simply just could not pass on.
Sure.
So the guns I carried while I was at Taurus, I always promoted the GX4. It's a great concealed carry gun. It's a 9mm. It's compact. But I will say that I will be changing over to the Staccato CS. And there's some big differences there. One, the Staccato CS, it's not a polymer striker-fire firearm. So it's now hammer with external safeties. And it's a steel frame with polymer grips. So it's going to be a little bit heavier.
Sure.
Which I prefer this platform hands down over anything else, the 2011 platform. That and the 1911 is basically what I've made my career off of. So my new firearm of choice is going to be the Staccato CS, and that's a 9mm as well. And then as far as how and where I carry, if I'm carrying on person, majority of the time it's going to be appendix. Just because that's the easiest place for me to conceal my firearm, regardless of what my clothing option looks like. If I'm going to be out running or exercising and I have on, leggings or something without a sturdy waistband, I like to use what they call is a belly band. And the one I use is made by Crossbreed or Innate Tactical. And that's just, I'm sure you know what it is, but just in case, the listener who asked isn't aware, it's just a spandex belly wrap that, wraps around and cinches down and it just holds your firearm right on your torso. That way, if you're running or exercising or doing any kind of, outdoor activity that a holster would not feel as secure, you now have your firearm on your midsection. And sometimes I also carry off body. I'll put a firearm in a purse or something. With that, I just like to tell people to be careful about how you're storing your firearm in a bag or a purse or whatever that off body option looks like.
Sure.
Make sure you have some sort of holster or something to protect the trigger guard. The last thing you want is to, have an accident because something got inside of the trigger guard inside of that bag. And then the other half of that is I say, make sure you have a designated pocket for it or a space where nothing else is going in that area. So you don't have that issue.
Yep.
And then it's kind of a different mindset as well. If you're carrying on body or off body, sometimes I set my purse down or if I leave it here at the table and go to the bathroom, well, I've now walked away from my firearm. If I have people sitting at the table, I know they're not going to take it, but it's your responsibility. So it's a different mindset carrying off body. You have to be aware of what you're doing with that bag or purse at all times and that it's not out of your sight so that you're not being irresponsible with it. Whereas on body, it's always on you. And then that, comes with a different mindset and I don't want to say difficulties, but going to the bathroom. What am I going to do with my firearm when I go to the bathroom? So it's just things you have to think about. But I think that's for carrying a firearm on you in general. You need to think through these processes and what the activities you're going to be engaging in look like and what's going to be the best option for you on how to carry that firearm.
When hunting the wild, challenges abound. Leave nothing to chance. 7mm PRC from Hornady.
Fantastic answer. There's 3 takeaways that I had from that. The first was, as a competitor, and I mentioned when I introduced you, a champion in every sense of the word. Okay, you are obviously very good at shooting a pistol, and that 1911, that 2011 grip, that grip angle, very natural to you. So it is going to be an easy transition, a great trade-off. Yeah, it's a little heavier, but that
Yep.
feels like an extension of your hand. So
Absolutely. And that's just going to give me more confidence when
Exactly.
I'm carrying because I know that platform like the back of my hand.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So that was one thing too, was carrying off body, whether that be a purse or a backpack. One of the things that's important to remember there, you need to practice with what
Yes.
you're carrying and carrying off body, whether that be a purse, just the draw, where do you go to get
Exactly.
it? You
Yeah.
need to be proficient with that. And then the third thing that I came away with was, you mentioned mindset several times in there.
Mhm.
And I feel like going through these questions as we march through these, that mindset is going to be part of almost all of these,
Mhm.
and is definitely what made you a champion, because it's what's between the ears when it comes down to when you're
Yeah.
shaving tenths of a second,
Absolutely.
reloads, et cetera,
Yeah.
those little things. It's the mindset that makes a champion generally. And that was pretty cool to hear you mention that just in how you approach concealed carry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So question number 2, a little bit lighter question.
Okay.
You're just plinking. You're not training. You're just out there
Mhm.
burning down some ammo, having fun. What's the best caliber to shoot when you're just having fun?
Just having fun. Probably 22. It's
Yeah.
cheaper.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
biggest thing for everybody is it's cheaper, no recoil, not as loud. And it's just fun,
Yep.
you know? Either that or 9.
Yeah.
I think 9's a go-to for everybody as well. But yeah, if it's just for fun, then 22, especially if you can get it
Yeah.
suppressed,
Oh,
it's even
yeah.
more fun.
It just takes the fun and turns it to 11.
Yep,
Yeah,
it
I
is.
agree with
Yep.
that answer wholeheartedly. All right. So here's a question that not necessarily regard to your competition,
Mhm.
but do you like to hunt, and how often do you get to go?
Ooh, that's a good one. I love to hunt. I'm an avid hunter. I don't get to hunt as much through the fall just simply because our shooting season runs, usually October, November.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get to hunt as much as I would like to, when opening archery season or rifle season opens, I'm usually at a match. So, but I actually got my husband into hunting as well. So now I have someone who shares the addiction with me. So
Oh,
we make plans, we have our trips, and as soon as the competition season's over, we're finding somewhere to go hit the woods. Or we recently fell in love with South Africa and
Yeah,
hunting over
buddy.
there. So we're actually going back in September.
Right on.
We have a match that we're shooting over there, the South African Handgun Championships. It's their nationals. We'll go compete in that, and then we're staying for another 11 days to go hunt. I mean, while we're there.
Yeah. Well, maximize the travel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And South Africa, such an amazing place to hunt. So much
It's incredible.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And it conveniently lines up with their cold season
Yes.
is our hot season.
Exactly.
And if your competition heats up September, October,
Yep.
you can go in June, July, have an awesome hunt.
Yep.
That's very cool.
It is. So yes, I love to hunt, and I wish I could hunt more than I get to, but I do have to work and
Yeah,
pay the
right.
bills. So,
So in regard to rifle hunting, what's your
Mhm.
go-to cartridge and bullet?
I love 308. That's my favorite hunting cartridge. Especially here in, North America, you can pretty much hunt almost anything. I won't say everything. I'll say
Yeah.
almost anything with 308. And then in, South Africa or other places, I've hunted New Zealand, just different places like that. It's a common.
Super capable.
It's very capable, and I've hunted many, many animals with that cartridge. And my specific favorite round is the Performance Hunter
Oh,
308
Precision Hunter.
Precision Hunter. Sorry.
The 178 ELDX. Great
Yes.
combo.
Yep.
Yep,
It's my favorite.
Yeah, you can shoot any animal that you would shoot the 308 at
Yep.
really any distance you would shoot an animal with the 308.
Yep.
That bullet performs. So great
It does.
selection. Moving into a mindset question.
Ooh.
So what is your mindset while shooting? Specifically, how do you stay focused? And I'm guessing
Okay.
that question must come in from a man, because I feel like there's a lot of us with not like actual ADHD, but just, it's hard to remain focused on a task
Yeah,
sometimes.
absolutely.
So
That's actually a great question. And honestly, my focus changes at every match. It's never the same. I have the intentions of it being the same any match I go to and in my preparation prior to. But so my mindset going into a match, I'll start on that one. If I've done my due diligence leading up to the match, then my mindset is confidence, and I'm going to do a job. I try and keep emotion out of it of, oh, this is a big match,
Yep.
What if I get nervous, or who else is shooting, or, I got to win this, you can't have any of that running through your head. I simply show up with the confidence because I've done my preparation leading up to.
Excellent.
And then when I get to the match, I simply just have to go execute. And the preparation part is key, in my opinion. When we go to these matches, we get a match book that's sent out and it shows us the stages that we'll be competing. And it's just a paper diagram. And for the most part, it's hard to tell distances, but you can get an idea to scale of what you're going to be shooting. But I at least see, okay, there's a lot of steel in this match. So I need to make sure I'm practicing my steel. That way I'm 1 for 1 as much as possible. Or if there's a bunch of moving targets, things that are activated by steel, and then you have swinging targets or disappearing targets or things like that are trickier than just a static target, then I know I need to work on, specific things that I see are going to be laid out. That way nothing is a surprise. If I can control as many variables before I get there, then that's going to be better for me when it's time to go and perform. And then once I'm actually at the match, and I have a chance to look at stages and I know, okay, yeah, I prepared well for this, or I kind of missed the mark, then that's where I just have to focus on the fundamentals and my training that have gotten me through 24 years of shooting and say, okay, maybe I didn't set that up properly or I misjudged the distances on what I was practicing, but it's okay because there's not a single shot on this range that I can't make. Now I just have to focus on making it at speed with accuracy and just, kind of fall back on my haunches and rely on what has gotten me to this point all along.
That's awesome.
So
that aligns really well with a military saying, and I've heard it out of the military as well, but that's the first time I heard it, which was you never rise to the occasion. You only fall back to whatever your level of training is. And your level of training, obviously better than most. So that's an awesome mindset and can help you probably become much more comfortable when you get to a stage and go, oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And then you can go, I still got it. I know I got it.
I mean, to think that I'm going to go to the biggest match of the year. I'm going to go to nationals in a couple of months. And if I haven't trained or if I haven't at least seen some variation of what they're going to present, it's unrealistic for me to think that I can go there and perform better than I've ever performed and not practicing. Like you said, you're not going to rise to the occasion above something you've never done before. It's very rare. Not saying it can't happen. It's very rare. And then that's not confidence inspiring for me.
Nope.
So I'm, like you said, I'm going to revert back to what is second nature to me. So if I can make my second nature above anything they could present to me at a competition,
then it's
a cakewalk.
Awesome.
Supposedly.
Yeah, well, it's
allegedly
turned out to be pretty good for you. This one, going to be a tough question. Okay. I would imagine you have to pick one class of pistol competition for the rest of your life.
Oh, gosh.
What is it and why?
USPSA.
USPSA.
Yep. And the reason I say that, I enjoy all the disciplines I compete in, whether it's Steel Challenge, USPSA, IPSC, which is the international version of USPSA. I used to compete in Bianchi Cup or Inter Action Pistol, multi-gun, cowboy action shooting, all of them. I would have to say USPSA simply because, one, the stages are always different, unless it's a classifier stage. So it's never going to get stagnant on shooting the same thing over and over and over. There's never a perfect score. Where in Bianchi Cup, there's a perfect score. I've never shot it. But
there is.
But there is. And then
theoretically, you could
say
shoot
if someone shot it, then what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I shot a perfect score. What am I going to do now? In Steel Challenge, the stages are always the same, and there's always room for improvement. But I just like the change and the not knowing. Okay, well, what are they gonna set up here or that? And then I like the style of USPSA shooting over IPSC shooting. It's a little bit faster, a lot more round count, lower hit factors. So, and there are always more options for the shooter to determine how they want to shoot the stage based on their strengths and weaknesses. And then there's more room to gain ground or not in USPSA versus IPSC, in my opinion. So say I start the day off or the match off, day 1, day 2, I'm not doing too hot and I'm a little bit behind. And if we still have a day or two more, there's going to be room for me to, make some ground up and have a chance, to pull from behind. In IPSC, I feel like there's not so much that opportunity. And you typically see whoever starts out and takes the lead, that's who's going to win the match unless something catastrophic happens.
Really?
Just because There's not as many options for how to shoot a stage. There's not a lot of shooting on the move. So there's no room to kind of maneuver if you need to.
Yep.
So
Okay. Well, that's a good answer, and shed some light into, because there's a lot of people that don't know the differences of the sports you just mentioned. So that was really helpful. So moving on to those matches, how do you not get burnt out from training, competition, travel, etc.?
Who said I don't get burnt out? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. That seems like a standard human emotion for 2024.
Yes. That's a really good question, and I don't get asked that very often, so I'm glad whoever sent that in. So when I first started competing and shooting and training, I was so hungry, and I felt that I had to be out on the range. If I didn't shoot 1,000 rounds a day, then I didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, that was back when 9mm was 15 cents a round.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that was my mindset, but that built the foundation that I have now and got me to where I need to be. Now I've learned to work smarter, not harder. And if I go to the range, it's going to be a more concentrated, focused training session. And if I shoot 300 to 500 rounds a day, that's a big training day for me. But the quality was much better than the quantity. And that's evolved over the years. Also, as I've gotten older and more matches are added to the schedule, and then the traveling that goes with that, I've had to find a balance of, okay, my training days need to look like this so that I'm not burnt out on the training. Because the day that I don't want to go to the range and train is the day that I need to hang it up.
Yep.
Because if I don't have the mindset to be hungry enough to go out there and practice, knowing that someone else is out there and going to show up that's, coming after me or just as hungry, then what am I doing? Why? I'm just going to participate at that point. And I don't do that. I don't like to do that.
Right.
So it's, finding a balance of your actual training and how to keep that to where it's not burning you out. And then also finding a balance for the matches that you're going to compete at, the travel that goes with that. And then for me, at the end of my training season, I don't touch my guns. I am done. I don't go to the range unless it's for work and content, things like that. But I don't go compete. I don't train until it's time to start getting ready for the next year. Wow. So usually from November until February, I'm off the range. Don't touch the guns. Don't look at them. Just because I have to step away. I need the mental break.
Yep.
Because it's a lot of mental stress and pressure to stay at that level of heightened focus and your mindset of, I'm here to work, I'm here to win. That's a lot. And some people might not understand that, but it takes a lot to train, perform, and execute at that level. So when I'm done for the year, I'm done. I step away from it. And that's what helps me the most to kind of keep from getting burnt out.
That sounds like you would have to do that. And there's a couple things that I would like to add or get your perspective on, more on a personal note for me, and I think a lot of other people, and I'm wondering if this is a shared, because I am not an elite level competitor. I'm the opposite of an elite level competitor. I'm a competitor, but that's about it. But for me, with my travel schedule and work and what I have going on my little acreage and my kids and sports and all that stuff, for me, routine and physical fitness are paramount to just staying sane.
Yes.
And I'm guessing those are probably important to you as well.
100%.
Mainly the routine thing. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the structure of your day, your week leading up to the competition, et cetera.
Yeah. So I'm a big routine person. I'm a creature of habit. I like doing the same thing every day. I'm good with that. I might be spontaneous one day out of the week and be like, yeah, let's change it up. We'll go to the gym first.
Yeah.
But when it's training season or, we're leading up to a match, I am definitely a creature of habit. My husband and I our training day or work day, if you will, we'll wake up and typically go to the range and try and train, first thing in the morning. And we'll be out there for maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on what we're working on. And each day, what we decide to work on or train for, it changes based on what we have coming up for that match. After that, typically in the gym, probably 4 or 5 days out of the week, depending on what travel looks like for that week. And then after that gets us to about midday after lunch. Then we're back at the house, and depending on what admin work we have, for companies or other sponsors that, we work with, we knock some of that stuff out. And then that's kind of our day. When we're homebodies because we travel so much that when we are at home, like we want to be at home. Like we don't eat out. We cook and eat in. We just hang out together. So it's a pretty relaxed day, but it's an intense day as far as like being out at the range training. And
Structured.
Yes, it's a structured day. So we're exercising mentally at the range training, then we're exercising physically in the gym, and then back at home.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it just like everybody else in the world. It's tough to find balance, but
it is.
Sounds like you struck a pretty good balance there.
The Hornady Click Adjust Bullet Seating Micrometer. Precisely set bullet seating depth with Click Adjust in 1/1000th of an inch increments and easy to read graduations. It's a quick and easy way to achieve bench rest accuracy and consistency with tactile clicks just like a Click Adjust scope turret. Easily installed on Hornady custom or match grade seating dies. Take your reloading game to the next level with the Hornady Click Adjust Bullet Seating Micrometer.
So this next question, we were going to toss out, but then it sounds like this person probably personally knows you, so we're going to do them the favor. Whoever sent this in,
okay.
Here it is.
Okay.
Who's your favorite, Trey or Taylor?
Oh, I love these guys. This is an unfair question, but Trey knows I have to go with Taylor. So I'll give you the backstory. Okay. So I lease a horse back home. The barn is like less than 2 miles from my house. And I was actually looking to buy a horse. And I went to this barn to see if they had any open stalls because I was going to go horse shopping. And they said, we might have an open stall. The young lady that owns this horse, some financial stuff, we don't know if she'll be here. And I said, well, can I see the horse? And it was like the cutest horse ever. We call him Da Baby. And, and I said, just, curious, is she interested in leasing? Because I want to buy a horse, but I also travel a lot. So I don't want to feel guilty if I'm not here all the time. And, So anyway, I meet with her. She was interested in leasing. I said, okay, well, let's just get together. I'll ride the horse and see if I connect with him. And then you can make sure you connect with me and that everyone's comfortable with this. And it has turned into, she's one of my closest friends. This is the best horse. Like, if I could go buy a horse, I would buy Kane. He's a former national champion reining horse. He got her qualified and on the equestrian team at UGA in reining. He is the sweetest, most bomb-proof. He's like a puppy dog. But yes, so I would have to go with Taylor because Taylor and I have Kane. So sorry, Trey. I love you both, but
there it is.
It's gotta be Taylor.
And then they had a follow-on to that, which was, what's your favorite thing about Casey?
Aw, everything.
Okay.
I would have to say he makes me laugh.
It's a way to a woman's heart.
It is. If for longevity, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Casey and I have known each other for going on 18 or 19 years. And we've been close friends all that time, even before we started dating and got married. And he has always made me laugh. And that's my favorite thing about him.
Love it. Awesome. All right, back to the work stuff.
Okay.
Now, social media is the thing. Super active on there, and it's a great way to connect with your fan base. Do you hire someone to help you with social media, scheduling, emails, etc.?
Nope. I do it all myself.
Dang.
I know. And I'm going to be honest, and I hope this is an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I hate social media.
Yep, me too.
Like it's super invasive, and it's a glimpse. You're seeing a thumbnail of a picture or the reality. And I don't want to say hate is a very strong word. I think it has great purposes, but I think it's so toxic and unnecessary for daily life. But it is part of what I have to do for work. And also it has provided me a platform to be able to share the products for the companies that, support me in my career so that I can share what I use and what I do with the people that follow me. So like I said, it has its purposes and positive sides. But I personally try and keep social media from being too invasive into my personal life. But everything I share on social media is organic. It's me.
That's pretty cool.
And I try not to, some days I'm on there no makeup. That's what I was doing that day. Some days I might be more dolled up. It is what it is. But I try and be as real and organic as possible so that someone who's looking at this isn't in some form of comparison mode or
Sure.
saying, oh, well, that can't be real. That's got to be fake. It's on social. No, I don't like fakeness. So I try and keep that as far away from any of my social media platforms. But as far as like who handles everything, it's all me. I hire a videographer to come in and capture stuff for me just because it's easier and I can knock stuff out really fast. And then I have stuff like in the piggy bank to load in post when I need it.
Yeah, like what we should do with this podcast instead of just winging it.
You know what? Sometimes you just got to wing it and you get really good stuff. You get gold.
Yeah, sometimes. But it's nice to have stuff in the bank where it's like, we can back off the throttle for a few weeks.
Yeah, so that's as far as it goes as having someone help me is someone comes out and captures my content occasionally.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer, and that even adds more complexity to that balance question.
Yes.
Yeah. So another question comes in, topical, considering what we're doing. Will you ever start your own podcast?
Ooh. I would love to, but I don't know. That's a stumper. I feel like, so I would love to have a personal podcast, but I feel like for me to truly be myself and talk about anything that comes to mind, I might not be able to have sponsors' names tied to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I feel the same way. I've had like, oh, Seth, you should start your own podcast. You do the Hornady one, you should have, and it's like, yeah, that maybe. But
I might be unemployed at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to be cognizant of.
You have to be, you have to be aware of what you're talking about, what you're saying, because even though I'm my own individual person, I am still tied to Hornady. What I say, people will tie back to this company and then to Staccato or to Bushnell, things like that. So I think I would love to have my own podcast and just talk about whatever comes to mind. But I think I just wouldn't want it to be restrictive if I have my own podcast. And not that I'm going to go out there and, say outlandish things.
Earth, right?
Yeah, but I would just want to be unrestricted, and I don't feel that I could truly do that in the position that I'm in.
Yep.
So
I understand exactly how you feel. Moving on to, how long have you been with Team Hornady, and what's your favorite memory that you've shared with the company?
Ooh, that's a good one. So Hornady is my longest standing sponsor.
That's right.
Round of applause. Thank you.
Hey, Jamie, hit that applause button. Yeah. We don't have a Jamie.
Oh,
yeah.
You didn't have to say that. I was like, Jamie, hit it.
yeah. That's a Joe Rogan reference. Maybe one day we'll get a Jamie. We'll see.
Maybe one day. That's our goal here, to get a Jamie.
Yeah. So
I signed with Hornady in 2010, and I would say one of my So I don't know if it's a favorite, but it's one that won't ever go away. And I probably shouldn't out myself on here, but everyone in the company knows about it. So I have the worst memory, and especially with names.
That'll happen.
That happens. But also, if I'm put on the spot or if I get nervous, I'll forget your name sitting right here in front of me. And this happened with Jason Hornady.
Oh.
But I didn't just forget or blank on his name. I called him Steve.
Ouch.
And that has never left me. They will not allow it. So it's a funny core memory of me with Hornady, but it's probably not the best one.
Yeah,
but
you get that cringe feeling when you think about it still.
I know. Well, and Neil Davies always brings it up. He will not let it go. And so does Jason. So, yeah.
All right.
It's a fun memory.
And for those that don't know Jason personally, he will heckle to no end.
Oh, yeah.
With respect.
Yes.
But he will definitely heckle.
And that's exactly what has happened with that situation.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah.
All right. A little peek behind the curtain. All right. Here's a good one that came in on some social media. Perspective on how the sport, and I'm guessing sport, USPSA, that kind of stuff, has evolved over the last 10 years. And do you think it's been good or bad for the sport?
Okay.
Or has it evolved?
That's a good question. I would say from a division standpoint, yes, it's evolved. You're seeing divisions that are created now based on products that the firearms industry are making. So they're dictating our divisions, which I think that's how it should be.
Sure.
But back in the day, open and limited divisions were the end all be all if you're going to go shoot a match. And for anyone who doesn't know, open and limited are like the race gun divisions. It's not a gun you can just walk into a dealer and buy. It is a custom gun that's built by a gunsmith and is going to cost you anywhere from $5,000 north. So, and then specialty loaded ammo for it. It's not something you can go to your sporting goods store and get ammo for. So over time, within the last, 10, 15 years, you've seen the division of production come into play. And that's where you can literally just go buy a gun and show up and shoot. You've seen carry optics come into play, which is basically your production gun with an optic on top. And then now you have limited optics, which is your semi-race gun, if you want it to be, with a slide-mounted optic and no comp, and it's all 9mm. And carry optics and limited optics, carry optics is the largest division in the sport right now, and I think limited optics might give it a good run for its money, but those are going to be your top two divisions, and that's purely based off of the firearms industry. So I think it has evolved in that aspect, and I think that's wonderful. I think our sport should, be centered around guns that people can go readily buy along with ammo. In terms of the sport itself, and I don't want to ruffle feathers with this one, but I don't feel it has evolved. We're still using the same target system, scoring system, and rules from, basically when the sport started, and has not evolved with current technology other than how we score or keep score. We have electronic scoring now as opposed to, our paper and carbon copy print. But, and like another thing is, technology, everyone has a camera nowadays and they're videoing and there's so multiple angles of one person on any given stage. And one of the things that that just sticks out in my mind that hasn't evolved with modern day is that if you have a safety call made on you, like say I'm shooting a stage and, I have to run up range and then shoot again, and I somehow break the 180, but I don't, and the RO has called stop and, I'm done at that point. That is a match DQ if you have a safety violation. If I argue that I did not break the 180, might have been close, but depending on where the RO is standing,
it could look a little different.
It could look different, but you cannot question it. You can file an arbitration, but it's now your word against the RO. And the RO is the top call, always.
Right.
Regardless of how many videos, how many angles can be seen. So they don't accept
replay.
Exactly.
Like baseball.
They do
in
in IPSC. They do in the international organization, but we don't in USPSA, unfortunately. So that's one example of something that hasn't evolved. Our targets. We have a classic target that doesn't have that humanoid shape, but the USPSA target is a humanoid shaped target, and that's very controversial for any mainstream media. And I think that has prevented a lot of outside mainstream companies getting involved in the sport at all. I mean, they don't want to show people running around shooting guns at targets that are shaped like people.
Yeah, which I could understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's things like that I feel the sport hasn't evolved. I think there's things that could be put into play that could help it, evolve and grow and, get more with modern times and then help the organization itself grow. But I am not trying to sit here and say I could make it better.
Yeah.
Because that's so far
that's
out
not
of
your
my
cross
league.
To bear. You just want to compete.
Yes, I just want to compete. But there are things that I see that could be changed. But I also am well aware enough to know that there might be reasons behind these things that I've mentioned. That's just what I see from my perspective.
Got it. Well, that's what they asked was what was your perspective.
Yep.
Now I saved the toughest one kind of for last here.
Uh-oh.
Well, I've got two of them. One of them I'm going to save for the end of the show.
Okay.
You've got some questions we're going to answer that are on your phone. This one though, more introspective, and I should have prepared you for this because it could be controversial. I'm not trying to cause a fight on the internet. I certainly don't want any tears on the show.
I don't care. Let's do it.
All right.
It's just my opinion. They can't get upset over that. Or they can, but what are you going to do?
Yep. All right. Pineapple on your pizza.
Yes. All day long. If you don't, you're a psycho.
Boom. You heard it here on the Hornady podcast.
You heard it here first. Pineapple pepperoni pizza dipped in ranch. Don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah. You want to fight about it?
Yeah. Let's go. I have a bucket list to punch someone in my life. I've never hit anyone. So if they want to toe the line, let's do it.
Okay.
Right here.
All right. Well,
Pineapple on your pizza.
I would 100% agree. And so years ago, Preston and we took this podcast on the road.
Okay.
And we were recording on the road. We went on this antelope hunt. It was actually quite a story. We had to fly to Idaho for a work event.
Mm-hmm.
Then we rented a pickup and drove the length of Wyoming. We left at like 3 in the morning.
That sounds like fun.
To hunt eastern Wyoming for antelope. And in the town of Lusk, there's a place called the Pizza Place.
Okay.
And their catchphrase is professionally seasoned by seasoned professionals.
I love that.
And they had the best Hawaiian pizza I've ever had. The crust. Oh my gosh. It was so good. So pineapple on your pizza.
Yes.
Love
I'm
it.
not a Hawaiian pizza gal.
But pineapple has a
pineapple on the
place.
pizza, yes, it belongs.
Okay.
And I'll fight you if you say otherwise.
I'll back you up. All right. So now we can move on to the serious questions that you brought in. Because
I don't know that they're very serious, but we'll give them a crack. Some of them are just kind of funny. So Trey, again, from Trey and Taylor, asked, do I listen to, it says comp music?
Music right when you're,
so
you're
maybe
in the
like
stage.
pump up music or something. Yeah. And if so, what is the genre and why? So I like music on the way to the range. I don't want music while I'm at the range. But pump up music, I love a good AC/DC.
Oh yeah,
that'll
classic.
get me in the mood. I love some gangster rap.
Shoot to Thrill comes to mind.
Yes,
Little
Shoot to
ACD.
Thrill.
Yeah, are you kidding? Yeah. Little gangster rap.
Yeah, a little gangster rap. Biggie Smalls. Yeah, that'll get me. Just ready to go
zone.
out and get
music
done.
has some magical powers.
It does.
It's almost a performance enhancement when you think about it. If you've done workouts that aren't in control of. I'm thinking in a military setting where you can't really control what's going on and you just have to take it. You throw in some music in there, which
it'll get you amped
obviously
up and
they never
ready
do.
to, yeah.
Yeah. It can definitely change the mental game.
Absolutely. I agree. So yes, music definitely will help pump me up, but I'll listen to it on the way to the range, not once I get to the range.
Okay.
So
Utilize your space your way with the modular Hornady Security Square Lock Organizing System. Mount the Square Lock panels anywhere in your home or shop. Then attach the wide assortment of Square Lock accessories to securely store firearms, tools, gear, or any other valuables in any possible configuration. Keep your reloading bench or gun room organized with the Square Lock Modular Organizing System from Hornady Security.
Oh, this is a good one. So Trey sent in a lot.
Okay.
I texted him, I was like, these are gold. I'm going to try and get some of these answered. But they were out walking their dog. They're like, yeah, let's just send these in. He said, would I rather have a come from behind win or a dominant win? This is a great question.
Ooh.
And I've been in both positions. Obviously, I would rather have a dominant win, if possible, for confidence and ease of stress in a match.
Oh, yeah. Nobody likes to be chewing fingernails.
It's
oh, my
super
gosh.
stressful. And so if I could pick, I would say, I would take a dominant win over come from behind anytime. But I've been in the position of being behind, and I will say there's nothing more gratifying than like you are put to the test.
Cleaning house.
Everything's on the line, and you've got to give every stage your all. There's no more kind of relaxing and playing it safe and just racking up points. I've got to be all out every stage to make up that ground. And when everything connects and you do come out on top, like that's one of the most gratifying wins, in my opinion. But if I had a choice, I'd just take a dominant win and just go home.
Okay. Fair enough. That's a great question, though.
It was a good question. Let me find one more. And did you say you have one more for the very end?
I do have one more for the very end.
I'll find one more and then we will go to yours. Let's see. Okay, how about a funny one? And I'm actually going to ask you this question.
I'll answer how I think you would answer.
Okay. Is a hot dog a taco?
No, man.
I agree.
Okay.
In no world is a hot dog ever a taco.
No.
Yeah.
No, I
It can't be.
I'm confused.
Yeah. I mean, I get, okay, you've got your outside holder. And it's in the same bun or taco shell or wrap. And then there's meat in the middle, but it's in no way comparable. Apples and oranges.
I think
tacos and hot dogs.
Absolute disrespect to the culture.
Yes.
That's what I think.
To both sides.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, Well, we're in agreement. Pineapple on the pizza.
Pineapple on
No,
pizza.
a hot
dog is not a taco. I'm going to have to talk to Trey. Hopefully he doesn't agree.
Yeah, you're right. All right. So moving on to the last question. We say this one for last because you were on the show, episode 15. Man, we were in the infancy of our show. I look back on some of those episodes, and as a podcast host, it's like, golly, I had no idea what I was doing. Still don't, but I've definitely learned a lot. So I forget what episode, but we had a listener that listened to a lot of the episodes. I say we helped him. That's probably an overstatement. But with the guidance that we gave on the podcast, he went out, made a rifle purchase with the 300 PRC, took his first elk in Utah with 190 grain CX outfitter ammo. We actually met him at the Hornady PRC PRS match in Utah. His name's Mason McNeil. So Mason, if you're listening, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, he asked a question and said, hey, within Hornady, I want to know the answer to this question. Just ask some of the guys. Well, we said, screw it. We'll answer. We'll ask that to everybody on the podcast.
Okay.
So every time we have a new guest, we ask this question. And it's kind of a messed up question considering that you do pistol competitions and you hunt large game animals.
Okay.
So I'll be weird to hear how this goes. But in this theoretical world, hypothetical, you can have an infinite number of firearms, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
You can have infinite amount of guns. And in any configuration, barrel length, suppressed, you name it. I mean, infinite. But the catch-22 is they have to be the same cartridge and shoot the same bullet. And this is for the rest of your life.
Oh,
I told you it's messed up. I didn't come up with this.
Yeah, dude, that's wrong.
What would it be? That's a tough one.
In our theoretical world, is this post-apocalyptic?
Nobody knows. It's your world. Is it post-apocalyptic or is it everything awesome?
Man.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Holy cow. One firearm, but as many of that one.
No.
And same caliber.
So you could have, let's just, for example, let's say I picked a 6.5 Creedmoor with a 143 ELDX because I like to hunt and I like to shoot stuff far away.
Yeah.
Well, I could have a PRS gun, NRL hunter gun, 6-pound hunting rifle, 12-inch AR-10. You name it, any sort of design.
Okay.
But it's got to be in the same cartridge with the same
They all have
bullet.
to be in the same cartridge.
Yep. So things to consider. Obviously, you're a match shooter because you need it to be accurate.
Yeah.
If you're a hunter, you want some terminal performance out of the deal. Yeah.
This is insane.
Yeah. And if you're going to choose something like a pistol cartridge,
I'm not long range in anything.
Is it legal to hunt with a 9? Okay, maybe you go 10 millimeter.
Oh gosh.
Yep. There's a lot.
This isn't fair. It's not fair.
I didn't come up with the rules. I'm just the messenger.
10
millimeter with a 180 XTP. If
I
was
but I
in
can't
your
go
shoes,
compete with that.
Well, you could still compete. You probably wouldn't compete at your level.
I wouldn't be winning.
But you could get terminal performance. You could hunt deer and other stuff in a lot of places with it.
Man, that's a hand
or you
cannon
could just
too.
You could just hand cannon. It's a 10 millimeter.
Well, compared to what I'm used to shooting.
I've seen Jerry Michalik unload a 44 mag in like no seconds.
Man.
It's tough.
That's
or you could
super
say,
tough.
Maybe you, in this hypothetical world, pistol competition, you're out. I'm going to go live in South Africa, shoot PRS, and hunt with animal. I'm going to go 7 PRC.
Yeah, I like that world. Okay, yeah. So my problem is I don't know all of the rifle rounds to know what I could take if I'm going to shoot, like you said, PRS, and then also what would be good for hunting.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm...
6.5 PRC would be pretty solid.
Okay.
You could elk as well within the menu of a 6.5 PRC, and there's people that shoot it for PRS or NRL hunter, which if you haven't tried, I think you'd be really good at it.
I want to. Casey and I are talking about trying to come shoot the Hornady match next year. That'll be a lot of fun. I would love to do that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So my theoretical world, because I'm not going to be competing forever.
Yep.
In life. So what I would have after that, it's going to be a rifle platform, and I'm going to want something that I can hunt or provide with. And then if I, at my NRL matches, could still shoot with. So, okay, so 6.5 PRC.
And ELDX, probably just like
your absolutely. Hunter. Yeah, those are my favorite. What about 308?
Oh, you could certainly do 308.
How does that hold up in like a NRL or
not
matter.
so great.
Yeah.
But
Or just because of long range, probably.
Yeah, well, it's the wind that really does it. It's the long time of flight. I will say, me with the 308 versus you with the 308 are probably very different people because you have the mindset.
Don't give me too much credit.
And so there's a lot of people that compete at a very high level with the 308. So you could go with 308. That's
You know what? I'm going to go with 308 because in my theoretical world, I know how to call wind and I'm really good at it. So
excellent.
I'm going to go with 308.
That's a great answer.
That's going to be mine.
With the Precision Hunter.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
There it is.
I did it. 30 minutes later.
It's a tough answer. It's a tough question.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I love that y'all do that for each new guest. That's a really good question.
Yep.
Mason, way to go.
Yep. And Preston Lentfer, Preston,
Yeah.
Big Preston, usually he's sitting right there. He chose the 308 Winchester as well.
Okay, good. So I'm not alone in this world.
Nope, not
Perfect.
at all.
All right.
Awesome, Jessie. Well, thanks for the peek behind the curtain into, more of what goes into what you do, which people see because of social media. They see that thumbnail of, wow, Jessie can burn it down and she's always winning. But there's more to it. There's
absolutely
the mindset, the structure, the day-to-day, the grind, if you will. And the grind culture, this is tangential, but it's like, work for 18 hours and sleep for 2 hours and whatever. Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. But for longevity, you've been in this game a while and you competed at a high level since the beginning. And that grind culture, you can't do that for this long. And you have to strike the balance and you've done a good job. And we really appreciate you being on Team Hornady.
I am thankful to be on Team Hornady. Like I said, it's my longest standing sponsor. And I feel like a part of the family now. But thank you again for having me on today.
Yeah.
You could have had anybody in the world and you chose me.
That's right. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jessie.
Thank you.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. You asked, Jessie answered. Thanks again. We'll catch you on the next one.